most of us who regret it were children, you know? And then, like the other thing is like, we pretty much all had trauma, all mental illness. Like we were not candidates for these life altering things.
Hey everybody, I'm here with this beautiful, amazing human being that I actually saw their story. Actually, somebody sent me your story, and then I was just like actually crying. I was crying. I was watching the whole thing crying. And so in my heart, I was like, I have to reach out to this person because they have such a really amazing story that needs to be told. And so but before we go on, please like, subscribe, do all those awesome things you're doing. Appreciate so much. The comments are incredible. People are really reacting to us here. So Prisha, thank you so much for being here today with me. And I understand this is a very difficult space to be in, and I want you to know that I'm here as a loving trampa. I'm here as a loving trampa and nothing else. And so this is about you and really bringing this information to the world that is so important at this time. So thanks for coming on, and I'm just gonna let you tell us about yourself.
Awesome. So, thank you for having me. First of all, I've looked up to you for a while.
Um,
And I think you have a really good head on your shoulders, and you've never been super like pushy, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Which is great. I
thank you.
guess I'll start with where I am now. I'm 24. I'm going to school for psychology with a minor in French, but like I can't go in class yet. Like I have to do it all online because of this whole thing.
Mhm.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, and I moved just about a little over a year ago to where I am now. After I actually left my fiance, who was also trans.
Mhm.
This is a crazy story. I was like pretty deep in the trans thing when I met them, and I actually left my parents' house to move from North Carolina to Florida to go live with this other trans person who was affirming me and like all of that. Yeah.
Mm, sorry. Like, do you feel on some level that you are indoctrinated into this space?
Oh my god, like, it blows my mind, like, I actually know a lot about, like, cults. First of all, people with borderline personality disorder are actually more susceptible to being in cults. So I find that very interesting.
Mhm.
And, like, when I say the love bombing works, like, I went from, not getting enough attention in my home because I wasn't the biggest issue, like, my mother was having a bigger issue, to, like, literally being worshipped and cared for at every corner and, like, truly love bombed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, affirmation on some level. Like, hey, you're trans. So, gosh, this just, I swear I have a billion questions for you. So tell me, so I want to know about how you started to transition. So did you meet somebody or did you kind of get in a group of people or what was the sort of catalyst that you started moving forward on
It
transition?
was all online. I
Mhm.
was, like, in an anorexia community, and they kind of brought me to the trans community, and I was pretty much in the general hate your body community, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
And it just easily turned into the trans stuff, and then, like, other children I now know at this point
Mhm.
were making these, like, posts, like, "If you experience X, Y, and Z, that's gender dysphoria, you're trans." And it would be things like, you hate your body, you don't fit in with your peers, you like weird stuff like that, like super vague stuff that's like so relatable to just the teenage experience, and the mentally ill experience. So, like, and then, when I started like bringing it up and like trying out different clothes and different like trying on different genders, I guess, I got a lot of praise for it and attention, and like I needed that. It just came from the wrong place for sure.
Right. And clearly, you're not the only person in this space that I've spoken to or that even have I've really delved into this community because it means that something's amiss and something is not right, because why did it work out for me and why isn't it working out for you, or a lot of you? So right, so I think
Yeah.
it's quite fascinating. What you're telling me is so incredibly profound, and things that I think of as an older transsexual person.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't have any of this, right? I grew up in a different era, and I transitioned in a whole other space where I didn't have the pressure. And
Right.
every time I talk to somebody, it's I always hear the same thing you're saying. There was pressure, right? There was a sort of affirmation, like, "Oh, you're trans, just come and be with us." And it made you feel better about yourself, right?
Yeah.
That's right. So do you consider yourself a detransitioner, or a desister, or what would you label yourself as?
Yeah, I would say detransitioner. I actually thought D-sister meant like female detransitioner. I thought it was like sister.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, but nah, I consider myself detrans. Like
Okay.
I did the medical stuff except for
Yeah.
bottom surgery.
So you were on hormones, you were
Mhm.
on testosterone, right?
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit? So now you're like in this space, and people are telling you you're trans, and you're sucking it all up and doing the things that everybody does, and then you start. So then tell me the next step. Wait, how old were you when this started happening?
I started like feeling this way at 15 and then started being medicalized at like 16.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Okay. So now this is my next question. What does, so tell me about the medicalization space. Could you tell me how you started to get the testosterone?
Yeah, I actually just found out online from other trans people that you needed a letter of recommendation.
Mhm.
So I went online and I found the first gender therapist I could find, and I made an appointment, and she gave me my letter of recommendation on the very first appointment in like 15 minutes.
Did everybody out there just hear this? I'm not making stuff up. I'm not an outlier. I'm not somebody who's trying to stop people from transitioning in any way, shape, or form. But what I am trying to stop is that. T- I mean, Prisha, can you even, now that you're out of it, do you, I'm speechless.
I mean, I've never been diagnosed with any of my other things that fast.
What? Nothing gets diagnosed. I don't care. You have diabetes. You have to go through a whole system to figure out. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, when like I really feel like there was no way I could have walked out of that room and not been told I was trans. Like there was like a wall of makeup for like the trans women that came in, like already on the wall, and like wigs. And then like there was an exchange thing for boy clothes and girl clothes. And all these teenagers were dropping off their clothes so we could trade clothes with each other. And like, her computer was already open with like the typed up letter of recommendation. And within 15 minutes, she was filling in my name.
wow, just wow. That's absurd. And
Yeah.
it's, those people should be losing their license, because they're literally flinging a letter. You know how long it, and now I'm going to say something that sounds like I'm an old man, but I'm saying it for a reason. I had to go through a very hardcore system back in the
Mm.
day, and you don't just get a letter. You get a
Wow.
letter after you complete the course, if that makes sense, right? You don't spend 15 minutes in a university to get a degree in psychology and they
Yeah.
just whip it off the computer. You literally go through a system. Oh my gosh. It's wow. Here we're seeing this is completely disgusting. So you get your letter, you start taking your hormones.
Yeah, I just took it to my endocrinologist and she was like, "Okay, well you have this letter, so yeah." And also like I mentioned like I also had the eating disorder, and she was like kind of making a deal with me, like if I gained weight, she would give me more testosterone. I have emails saying that. Like I have an email where I was like, "Can I have a testosterone refill? I gained weight." Like,
Oh my God. Wow. Holy
yeah.
crap. Wow. They're like dangling a cherry in front of you.
Yeah,
Like,
so
that is
yeah.
okay. Go on.
It
Sorry.
felt like something to work for and something to earn. And then on top of it, when I started the testosterone, and I know you know this, like my appetite increased. So I was like, oh, I'm cured of my eating disorder, you know? So it was all affirming.
All affirming, all affirming. These therapists are sick. They're actually sick, because that's not therapy. And we all know I'm a huge mental health advocate. Huge. Like, before you do anything in the world, you better get some, like, Okay, so anyway, that guy's just like, God damn. So now you get your testosterone. How old were you when you started? 16 or so? You got your
Yeah,
testosterone?
I I'm looking for my medical records to get the exact dates, because also, like, I was genuinely not in reality. Like, this is gonna blow your mind too. At the same time that I was seeing these gender doctors, my regular therapist at the beginning of every appointment had to ask me what year it was, what my name was, who the president was, because I was that not with it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you're so out of it. Here they are medicalizing you when you're not in the right frame of mind. You're not actually making, you know, choices in a space that you're completely legit in your head and solid, right? How can you make an informed choice when you're not even like functioning
Yeah.
on some, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's as if they want it. Don't you feel something's weird? Like, it's as if they want you all to be taking these hormones. It's
Yeah.
why?
Like,
What?
I believe in trans people, you know what I mean? Like, I
Of
believe
course.
some people are trans, but I'm like,
Of course.
the numbers cannot be that high. It's
Nope.
so sudden. It's like exponential all of the
That's right.
sudden, you
That's
know?
right. Well, but you're explaining it to us right here. The reason it is because anyone could show up and say, "Hey, I need a letter, and I'm trans," and then they're like, "Okay, here's your letter," and then so there you go. So what? Why are you even going to mental health care? Because it's not mental health care,
Yeah.
and also the doctors are being completely sloppy and just giving you testosterone. When, my God, okay, so now you're 16, you're on hormones, and how long were you on these hormones for?
Oh my God. I actually stopped taking them when I turned about 22, so like
That's
several years. Yeah.
So tell me about the time period on those hormones. What's happening? What's your community? What's your life going? What's happening?
Um, like, I honestly felt like I feel like I was in a fugue like that whole time.
Mm.
Like, um, I just was trying to be a different character almost. Like, I just hated myself and didn't know myself and had like so much trauma to run away from. And I was also like, when I started this, I was so young that I was under the impression that certain things only happened to girls. Uh so like I was just hiding and running, and that's all I did, and it was like in my every action, like not just the transition, but like the transition was like the biggest manifestation of destroying myself.
Oh, so depressing. So how was your mental health during this time? Were you even like going to therapy, or were you just around other trans people?
I was just around other trans people. I went to a group that the gender therapist told me to go to, and like they were just affirming and stuff. Um
Mm.
and then when I moved away from my parents, I didn't go to therapy for years, and then I got into dialectical behavioral therapy, which is the treatment for borderline.
Okay.
And when I worked on like the childhood trauma, that actually made me that pretty much had the effects that transition was supposed to have. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I can. Wow. So now you started digging into your what's it called? BPD,
Borderline personality
personality disorder.
BPD.
So you started digging into that. So was that sort of like a wake up call on some level for you?
Yeah, yeah. It just I mean, I realized I suffered from extreme black and white thinking. That's why I would think things like these things only happen to girls,
Mm,
and
mm,
like these people are all good and these people are all bad, like lots of black and white thinking. And
that's
being
right.
able to see the gray is helpful. I have more emotional regulation skills, like distress tolerance and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, and like again, that did what I was expecting and hoping transition would do. And like when I was transitioning, I stayed suicidal. And like it was like I was chasing the dragon. You know what I mean? Like I had to first it was changing my clothes. Then it was cutting my hair and I was still suicidal. Then it was hormones, I was still suicidal. Then it was surgery, I was still suicidal. Like I had to just keep going more, and I just kept hearing like once you're aligned, like you won't be suicidal anymore. But like it just never went away.
So you had some surgery.
Yeah, I did have a double mastectomy.
You had what they call top surgery,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't even
Yeah,
like to call it that, like,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah, I respect that totally a lot because for you it wasn't. Now it's not top surgery; it's a double mastectomy,
Yeah.
right? It's not, it's so sad for me as a transsexual man who this saved my life, and it has been the most amazing journey for me. And it's why I sit here with you because
Yeah.
I can't. I'm gonna cry, sorry, but I just can't imagine that people would put young people in this position when it's just so sick. It's so bizarre to me that they would, uh, you know, just put you in this space. So let me get a grip here.
Oh,
No,
you're
because
okay.
I
It's
care
hard.
about you. I care so much about you, got your kids, and and I call you a kid because I'm 60, but it hurts my heart because, like I say, this is such an important part of my journey, and there are people like me who exist, and you know that you said it, but this isn't the same. You are not the same thing, and it's just heartbreaking. So they're trying to not work on your actual real trauma. They're trying not to work, and that's where I'm lost. So they're not working on your actual trauma. They're not working
Mhm.
on what's going on underlying this idea that you're trans. Or just the minute you say trans, you're trans.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like they didn't want to deal with the hard stuff or something, like, it was too hard or something. I don't know.
It's really, I mean, both of us are actually confused because why? But why? It's just shocking to me that they wouldn't. It took me years to get hormones, right? It took me years to get that letter. It took me years
Wow.
till I could go through this, and that's why I'm solid. That's why I have never looked back ever, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
transitioned at 30, right? A little bit an older age, and so now you're in this space, and so you started doing your therapy, and you started thinking, oh, something isn't, you're grasping, right? You're
yeah.
reaching, everything isn't working, and you still have those suicidal thoughts.
Mhm.
Mhm. So now it's not working, you're still, so all of a sudden, so what happens now?
Um, I just cold turkey quit testosterone in secret and didn't tell anyone for a year and a half.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So nobody was around you when you were deciding to take that step.
Yeah, this is another crazy story.
Yeah.
I left my fiance and I decided to move away. So I applied to random jobs all over the country and I moved to the first job that took me and I moved all the way across the country to
Mhm.
and like I've never been
Mhm.
here before. I don't have any family here. So I
Wow.
just like sat in a new state for a while by myself and did it.
Oh, it breaks my heart, really, because that's the most vulnerable space you could be in. Removing yourself from something you thought was going to save you, not having your fiance, removing that, then actually getting into a whole other state where you know nobody, which takes a lot of guts, by the way. I think you're a very gutsy person. I think,
Thank you.
for a lack of a better word, you got big balls. So there you are. Now you're like literally alone, like detransing. So also, going off hormones, I would like to know what was happening. How did you feel like an emotional
Oh
un,
yeah. Um I mean, I would say it's been mostly good. Like I've been able to cry and think better. I've gotten worse with directions again though.
That's me.
Um but yeah, it was really difficult on my body. Like I just felt like weak and sick and tired and like I was in withdrawal almost for like a very long time.
Gosh, yeah. Okay, so now you're by yourself. Thanks, community. You're by yourself, and gross,
Yeah.
and suffering on your own. Did you seek out therapy or anything?
Yes, after I moved to Michigan, I eventually got the DBT therapist
Okay,
and
great.
I've been with her like this whole time.
What's it called? DV.
DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy,
Excellent.
dialectical being black and white.
Excellent. I want to know more about that. I'm gonna do some research.
Oh,
Excellent. So do you feel like that's helping you at this
oh my
point?
God, yes. Like my thinking is so much clearer. I have more emotional regulation. Like I used to say like I got like possessed by my emotions. Like they would like literally be me, and I struggle to feel more than one emotion at a time.
Mhm.
Like I if I'm sad, that's all I can experience and all I can remember, or angry or happy. And like that really messes up my view of other people too. Like I really idealize people who are like slightly kind to me, and then like
Mhm.
splitting is when like everything switches from black to white or white to black, and you view it the opposite way and everything was a lie like the whole original time, and like your whole reality splits. And so like I'm not going through splitting as much anymore. But I did like the trans community assisted me in like splitting on my family and stuff. Like
Wow.
they told me that anyone who doesn't affirm you would rather have a dead kid than a trans kid.
Wow. Just, you see, this, I'm a huge family person. I lost my family through I was just not a good kid. I did a lot of bad stuff. So, anyway, that being said, my family disowned me, and that's fine. I get it. But I really worked hard to bring that connection back with my family. And it's been the most amazing, beautiful thing ever. And that's why I talk a lot about this, because I see that happening. I see this desire to remove you
Yeah.
from your hateful family,
That's
right?
another cult thing too, like they separate you. Yeah, yeah,
There you go, my friend. That's right. They totally separate. It's like an abusive relationship. They do the same thing, right? They
oh yeah,
totally isolate you from your friends. They make it so they're the number one. It's all of it. It's
yep,
very, yeah. There's so many parallels here that
yeah.
how can the world not see this?
I know.
uh, so you get affirmation from your friends. Oh, you must be trans because whatever reason, right? You
Mhm.
must be. So now you're feeling that you're getting sucked into it because you're getting all this praise. You're trans. And of course, you're a youngster. You're like,
Yeah.
salivating. And then all of a sudden you're feeling not a part of that. And
Mhm.
did they just not talk to you? Or have you even approached any of your friends or,
I've talked to a couple of them and they're like, this is such a change. Like, how could you do this?
wow.
Like this isn't you and stuff like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because that they're sucked into the ideology, right? It's a cult. If you go against that, they're not going to be your friend anymore.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
gonna, because they're not. They never will were. I don't think. I think you know that they weren't actually
Yeah.
really your friends. They were
I
trying
think
to. Mm,
yeah, like our friendship was just based on that. So,
that's right. It's
yeah.
which so like now you're no longer that. I can't be your friend anymore. It's such insanity. That's what everybody needs to see. When detransitioners start getting attacked for their own story, something's not right. Just
Yeah.
no, no.
It's horrible, and I didn't expect it because, like, I thought the trans community and all of that, the whole point was exploring your gender and finding out who you really are.
That's
Like,
right.
I'm experiencing gender dysphoria. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Like, I'm not in the proper body anymore. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
I thought, I don't know, I was really surprised and like hurt and shocked.
You should be. You should be so hurt. You should
Yeah.
feel a lot of things, which I'm sure you are. I feel hurt because how dare these people? Oh, we love you. We love you. And then what? Kick you down when you're down on the ground. They're smashing you.
Yeah.
So did you get hate from the community when because you put yourself out there and you're very brave to do that in these day and age. But did people say mean things to you?
Yeah, just like general high school mean things, and then
Yeah.
like also calling me a liar and a broke woman, like, or like I had one person say that I was actually still trans and gonna transition, and I was trying to get conservatives to pay for my transition.
They just make the most insane, oh my god, they just make shit up because,
Yeah,
it reminds me of drug addiction. Back in the day when well, when someone's a druggie, they want you to do drugs with them because it makes
yeah,
them fit right, so they're just like, "Here, do some coke." Like, "You're fine," and then you get all slung out and they forget about you
yeah,
because
yeah,
you're no longer meeting their so that's why I know there's a hole in this trans story, because
yeah,
if there was no hole, you would be very important to these people, right? Instead, you're not. Instead, you're
yeah,
throwaway because they don't want you don't want your voice out there, my friend, because you poke a hole in the whole thing, you in the whole
yeah,
story. You're
And the other thing is like another like narrative shift I've noticed is like when I was trans or whatever, I thought that like I had a medical condition
mhm,
wherein I was a boy and I was in a girl body, right?
mhm, mhm.
And like it was sad. Like I was like, okay, now I have to take medicine to be a boy, and I'm gonna try to be stealth and pass, and I just want to be a normal boy. And now it's like trans is super celebrated, like it's a good thing. Like I thought it was like I thought I had a disease, you know?
That's right. Yeah, I have a mental disorder.
Yeah,
I accept my mental. If I didn't have this diagnosis, I would not be where I'm at. I need
yeah,
just like you need your diagnosis, whatever that is. It's how you get better. It's
yeah,
how we get
yeah,
better. I don't want to live in my disorder, and I don't want to be trans. I'm not trans. That just is I'm a transsexual person who I don't live as a trans person. I live as a man.
yes,
You see the
yes,
difference? These people
yes,
have taken trans into an identity space like
yes.
gay or this isn't an identity choice, isn't it?
It's
So
a condition.
thank you, friend.
Yeah,
And you got misdiagnosed.
yeah, yeah.
Well, how is that okay? How
And so many people are misdiagnosed with this exact thing.
That's my point. Like, how are we not holding our medical or our mental health, right, community, therapists? How are we not holding these people responsible? If you get diagnosed wrong, then this person who diagnosed you in what 15 minutes should lose their license
Yeah, I
because
know.
look at you. You're suffering and you might suffer for a long time. Testosterone for 5 or 6 years is not a joke.
No, it's
So
so serious.
tell me
Like,
what,
oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say what you were gonna ask, I think.
Which is I wanna know, like, tell me what happened to your body with the testosterone. Yeah,
Yeah, I my voice, I can't sing anymore. I used to have a really, really nice singing voice, and it was like one of my favorite things about me. No matter how like dark and suicidal I was, I could actually say that that was a good thing about myself.
right,
Um,
right.
I can't yell, like I can't speak loudly, or it just like disappears. Yeah,
That's me.
yeah.
That's right.
My shoulders, so, like, since I was so young, my shoulders are a lot bigger and my hips are smaller, like so and, like, I feel like my center of gravity changed, like, I'm
Mhm.
clumsy, like, I run into things all the time, I'm top heavy, but, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Um
Mhm.
I've had like obviously like aesthetic changes to my genitals that I don't like and is different than other people, as
Yeah.
well as atrophy. So like sex is painful, like it's just too small.
Ugh,
And inability to self lubricate. And while I was on the testosterone, I had cysts, like ovarian cysts, really bad.
common. That's common.
Mhm.
Atrophy is common. I had horrible atrophy and probably know, like, I almost died from it because I almost died from atrophy because I've been on hormones for 30 years. Like, halfway through that, I was having pain and cramping and no one knew anything. They're like, it's normal. Normal? Especially
Yeah.
after sex. I'd be like, I can't even move. I'm like so freaked out. But anyway, long story short, my uterus and my cervix fused together,
Holy.
which created a petri dish of an infection that exploded in my body after like years of it just festering. And like I got septic, which once you're septic, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So anyway, my point being, there's so many of you young people getting atrophy because the doctors aren't even discussing what happens when you put testosterone in a female body because
Yeah.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
I just couldn't grasp that at my age, and like
no.
not to be like too depressing or whatever, but like I had also recently been sexually assaulted.
Oh,
Um and yeah, like and my therapist knew this, and I thought I was like, "Oh, that just means like I'll never be able to be penetrated again." So good. Like I was literally so young and naive that that was my thinking.
no, it's sad. There's so much, there's a lot of sexual trauma going on here, right? I mean, I have sexual trauma, like a lot of girls, especially. I think a lot of times I feel like more than boys, but I could be wrong, have sexual trauma. And I see a lot of this trans movement deals with some trauma. It doesn't have to necessarily be sexual, but there's some serious trauma going on that we're not addressing.
Yeah, yeah. And I just like you can't fix a mental disorder by changing your body.
That's
Like,
right.
you know,
That's right.
and I just made a post the other day because I was thinking about it. Like at the same time that I was asking for top surgery, I also wanted liposuction, and they said no to that. Why?
Because it's not covered by insurance. Or they're going to call that, they're going to call liposuction cosmetic surgery, but they're not going to call the double mastectomy cosmetic surgery. It is
Yeah,
cosmetic
well,
surgery.
I was suffering with body dysmorphia though.
That's right. That's why it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah,
Right? One thing, that's why it's just there's an agenda. There's an actual agenda. But the thing that's weird to me, Prisha, is okay, have an agenda but the agenda is so insane that it's just the most insane agenda ever that people are just like literally like, woo, woo, it's totally fine. Let's transition 10-year-olds. What?
yeah,
What's wrong with that? Let's give kids this medicine. And what? Like, I honestly, I just am so I can't seem to understand it, my friend. I don't know
yeah.
why they would do this to you. What do they
I
think they're going to get from it?
I have a couple theories. I think that some people are genuinely like in the cult. They don't get it. They're naive. They're ignorant,
Sure.
but might be good-hearted.
Mhm.
Not necessarily doctors though. Um, and then I think there are people in it for the money. Um, and then I think there are people in it for like the clout, like
Oh,
especially parents. Like, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Transhausen, Transmunshausen, like you know what I'm saying?
That's right. You
Yeah,
hit it.
yeah.
That's right.
Like my
That's right.
gender therapist, I don't know what even credentials she had, but she said she was a expert, a transgender expert, and she had a trans child.
Oh God.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, so right there, you shouldn't be a trans therapist. She has a bias. She has
mm,
a full-on bias. You know what I'm saying? You have a trans kid. So you
yeah,
think if a kid is going to come into your office and you think you're going to even try to push back? No way. You're going to actually say, "Yeah, that's the problem for me that I have. That's not therapy."
yeah, yeah. And she like I don't know, she just asked like, "Are you a boy?" Like, do you not like being a girl? Do you not fit in socially being a girl? Like those kinds of questions.
Those are
Like,
like questions from like kindergarten.
yeah, and they were leading. They were all leading.
There you go, friend. There you go. That's the affirmation,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
That's the affirmation part of this new sort of therapy. Don't push back, agree with everything they say. Like,
Yep.
what? Then why am I coming to you? I'm paying you to agree with me.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
paying you to give me that letter. Like, that's not therapy. That's like indoctrination.
Yeah, I do feel like I just bought the letter.
That's right. You
Like, you know
did.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I could just take it to any endocrinologist, and she gave me the letter for hormones and therapy at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
Y
All right, off air, I'm gonna ask you the name of this therapist because I'm building a list, my friend. You
Okay.
know, I'm not kidding. I'm holding these people responsible for you. They need to be
Wow.
held responsible. I will not let them continue to actively participate in this arena when they are actively are participating in nonsense like this. This has ruined your life.
Yeah. I can totally give you her name, and I have, like and I was mentioning earlier, like, the emails to my endocrinologist, like, "I gained a pound, can I have some?" Like, you know what I mean? Craziness. Yeah.
Crazy, crazy. So I mean, I just overspoke you about saying that it's ruined your life. I don't mean
Oh,
to overspeak you, but of course, I watched your videos, which I literally made me just bawl my eyes out. I'm like, I have to talk to this person. Um, so has it on some level? Tell me how you feel about your life right now.
um, I mean, like, it's hard to go out, like I mean, you've probably heard it said before, but I feel like I'm fighting for the scraps of the life I could have had, you know? Like, I'm fighting so hard for my birthright, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I I'm calling doctors and, like, getting rejected everywhere. So I'm calling, like, further and further out, like, I might have to go out of the state or something. My insurance isn't helping me, isn't gonna cover anything. Um,
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
wow.
yeah. So I'm just I don't know even where my body is. I would like to like get a test, but like I found one endocrinologist willing to work with me and they don't have any openings until next year.
Well, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How can that be?
Mhm.
Does that mean that that person is overloaded with transgender patients?
Yeah, I wonder because that's a pretty specialty thing. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like I'm in a little town.
Oh my
Like
gosh, friend. Oh my gosh. So they're not helping you. The medical world that was so loving to you and so giving you the hormones and the surgeries. By the way, was that all covered on your insurance or did you have to do out of pocket?
The hormones were covered on my insurance, but the surgery was not. They were
Hmm.
fine with just giving me $7,100 of debt. I paid about 3,500 in cash from working from the age of like 15 to 17, and then the rest I put on a medical credit card and started my life like that.
Great. There you go. So leave you with debt.
Yep.
Oh God. Leave you with debt. Leave you with a completely mental, instability because you're literally all over the place now. Leaving you with whatever damage is done to your body for 5 or 6 years of testosterone, and no one cares.
Yeah. No one.
Wow.
I mean, it's like they hate me. I feel like they hate me, but like no one hates you more than people who've hurt you.
God, what a great statement. Oh my God. That is such a profound statement, my friend. No one hates you more than the people who hurt you.
Yeah. I found that
Wow.
to be true.
That is just profound. So, oh gosh, man, I just feel like I just can't even believe it. I just can't.
Me neither.
I
Me neither.
can't. You
Like,
know,
I feel like I'm gonna wake up from a bad dream.
That's right. That's exactly right. And how many more of you young people need to be hurt in order for the people in this goddamn trans, whatever it is? It's disgusting. I want nothing to do with it. And I remove myself from the community. They call me an outlier. Yeah, whatever. You call me whatever you want. I'm never leaving this
Yeah.
ever. I'm never leaving you guys, by the way. Never. Not until this ends. Not until children stop getting hurt and young people like you stop being sucked into some insanity. Now, I wouldn't have thought that it would be such a horrible thing if you did, like dress like a boy and cut your hair like a boy and did things that were actually reversible and then came out of it. Whatever. That's a whole other space. But you medicalized. They medicalized you and now
Yeah.
they're not taking responsibility for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Fuck.
ugh, no one will fix me. Like, I
Hmm.
just I feel I don't know. And I feel like they wanted a lifelong medical patient, you know?
There you go. There you go. You said
Yeah.
it. You said it. Yep, that's right. So it came from her mouth, everybody. And this is a person who has an experience in this space. So, oh gosh, you're doing us such a huge service. You are doing such a service, my friend. I don't know if the universe picked you to be a detranser. I'm sorry. But on some level, maybe
Yeah.
because a lot of these kids can't speak up. They feel uncomfortable. They're suicidal. And how is your mental health?
Um, it's okay. I I have a more solid identity for sure, and I know who I am. I'm more grounded in reality. I
Mhm.
just like cry a lot though, or like get stuck like just staring off into space for hours kind of thing, like just being gone because it's hard and like I don't know, it's like my brain literally like needs a break from being in reality. You know what I mean? Like so I just like leave.
It's really important that you do those things for yourself, right? And do
Yeah.
whatever you're doing right now. I feel like you are doing
Yeah.
good stuff because I see a difference from some of the videos you put out. You seem like you're maybe going back on track a little bit. But the fact that you have to do it yourself with no help, I hope that everyone hears her. And that is not so that's what I want everybody to hear. It's like, oh, you're okay when you're transitioning, but when you're not transitioning, you're useless to
Yeah.
this. So that means that it's a fake community.
Yeah, and then I wouldn't even say useless, like, I feel more like an enemy, you know,
Oh,
like a betrayer, like
betrayer. That's
they,
right.
yeah, like they think I'm someone who was in the cult and then has all the secrets now and is running free, like
That's right.
you know what I mean?
No, I totally know what you mean. They're like, that's why they try to silence you
Yeah,
because they know you have the actual real information. Why do you think I get nailed for bringing you on, right? I'm
yep,
part of trying to dismantle, what are they? Trans affirming healthcare is a
yep,
joke. It's not real.
yeah, yeah. It's not healthcare.
It's not healthcare. They literally affirmed you when they should have never affirmed you. So, I'm going to say it. Fuck off, trans affirming people. You don't care. Nobody cared about you, Prisha. They
I
didn't
know.
care about you. They
I know.
only wanted to bring you in, and you are now the enemy. You're right. And so yeah, that's. But you're not. You're actually not the enemy. What you are is the person who's going to help save so many young people who are going down the same path you went down.
Yeah, that's my hope.
You are. There's just no doubt about it. 100% you are. There isn't. You're here. You're putting it out there. I just want you to know, and I'll keep saying it to you. It means a lot to me as an elder in this community who cares about trans people and what has been given to me and other people. But I will not let your voice go to waste. And you are just pushed to the wayside. As far as I'm concerned, you're still part of the community. That's how I look
Thank
at it.
you.
You are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you are. There's this, and they can't do anything about it. You are literally in this community forever, whether they like it or not, because they're
Yep.
not. So, as you see, I'm just so mad about it. I'm mad about it. I feel like I'm supposed to, as an elder, I have a responsibility. You know that. I have a responsibility to make sure that the world sees this as a healthy, important
Mhm.
space for people to transition. But I also have I have an obligation to bring your story to the world, because that's not transitioning. You
Yeah.
were lied to.
Yeah. I just like, again, I feel like there was no way I could have walked out of that therapist's office and not been told I was trans.
Wow. Just
Yeah.
wow. 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 So now you're living in a different state. You removed yourself from that stuff. Tell me about your what's going on. Are you like living a normal quote unquote life? Do you have some friends that are around you, or do you have a support group?
I have a couple friends and I have been getting back in contact with my family in like the last 6 months.
Excellent.
So that's
Excellent.
really good. They just like
Excellent.
accepted me back immediately. And a lot of them weren't surprised. They were just like, we were waiting for you to come out of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's right. You just because the community does that. Community, I use that lightly. They do that. They want to get you away from your parents, which we discussed. And so then you did. Did you just disconnect from them?
Oh yeah. I moved to Florida and I was gone. Like I could have been dead and they wouldn't have known. Like,
Was your partner trans?
yep.
Okay, that's right. The partner was the one who sort of kind of led you into it on some level.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
is also why I stayed on the testosterone for so long. Like, I was thinking about stopping before I did at 22, but I just didn't. Like, I just kept like, I was praised for it every time I got the shot, and, like, it was a whole, like, ritual, I guess. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, that's right. I watch these guys. It's a full-on ritual.
Mhm, mhm.
It wasn't again, the way it is, or the way I look at it is a condition. I'm not showing that condition all over the internet. It's, like I don't know any other mental condition where well now it's this TikTok,
Yeah.
right? I mean, you see it all. The just what is it? DID or the
Yeah, yeah, like, that's another one that's really rare that, like, everyone can't have, and then, like, ticks, people faking ticks.
wow. Or what's the one where you can't stop? Is that the same?
Yeah, that's ticks, that yeah.
Ticks, yeah. I mean, what? So really we can just put trans, let's put trans right in. It's like everyone wants to be trans. Doesn't it feel like that?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you get worshipped when you're trans. I
There you
mean, now, you get to speak to the president, apparently.
go. My God, don't get me started on that one. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Well, that just like basically fucked us. Let me tell you, now everybody hates us even more. Could they have picked somebody a little bit more chill?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I mean, they got the queeniest, like,
Oh my God.
yeah,
Yeah. And
like,
it's
what?
ridiculous. Like,
Ridiculous.
and like, remember when transitioning used to be about like passing and being stealth, not being a caricature of the other gender?
Remember, we were
Yeah.
supposed to pass. You know, now they, these crazy people, they literally call me, they say, you have passing privilege. Bitch, I worked hard on this shit. Like, it's not magic fairy dust. Like, I actually work out and, like, you know, I really do things to make myself as masculine as possible. It's not, this isn't natural.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, wow, the privilege thing. They think everyone's privileged besides them.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, like, I don't know. I think, I don't know. For some of these people, I think they're just like empty and need something to fight for.
Yeah.
And they just jump on this because people are so loud about it. I don't know.
No, you're right. I mean, I'm going to tell you that as my own experience, and I have a lot of experience in this space, right? I'm not somebody who just transitioned a year ago. I have a huge amount of time under my belt. And like I always say, it's an important space for people who need it. It saved my life. It saved all my trans friends' lives. We're
Yeah.
super solid in our transitions and we never look back. So now we see all of us older trans people are like, what's happening? You know, and you just hit it on the head. It's the affirmation. It's
Yeah.
the, oh, you're trans. Every kid loves that. You know, I'm a dad. I have a 10-year-old
Yeah.
kid. They love that when you're like, oh, you're so good at this, or they get
Yeah.
into it. It's
Yeah.
it's a thing. And so you're just basically saying everything I think that some of us know, but nobody's willing to say it. And that's why you are willing to say it.
Yeah.
It literally puts us into a next level where we can start to say, okay, wait a minute here, friends. Detransitioners are gold. You're gold for us. You know, you are. I hate to say that your pain on some level is going to help us figure out what's going wrong here.
Yeah. I hope, like, um, I can't talk too much about it, but I spoke
Mhm,
to some doctors recently
mhm.
and with some other detransitioners that were like affirmation only. And I'm hoping that they'll like hear similarities between our stories and like, a main similarity is the age, first of
Yep.
all. Like,
Yep.
most of us who regret it were children, and then like the other thing is like we pretty much all had trauma, all mental illness. Like, we were not candidates for these life altering things.
That's right. And 15-minute intake, friend. 15-minute. Every single one of you that I spoke to almost had the exact same story. It was like
Wow.
bam. It was literally bam. I went in, I said I was trans. They asked me 5 questions, like you said, or whatever the questions are, and no pushback. Here you go. I
Yeah.
mean, I
Like, it's the only condition where you pretty much diagnose yourself, choose your own treatment plan, everything.
you're so right. Why do you need a doctor when you why do you need a doctor when you can diagnose yourself?
Yeah. Yeah. And choose your own treatment plan too, you
Oh my
know?
God. Oh my
Eh,
God.
like, am I wrong?
No, you hit it right on the head, friend. You hit it right. That's right. So we have Plume, right? Plume, and we have Folks, right on. Feel the same way. You literally go online and have it. I had my friend go on there and pretend to be trans and try to get some. Oh, went on literally not even 30 minutes, maybe 20-minute intake, not even that possibly. And the next thing you know, they're like, okay, we're gonna send testosterone to your home. Like, wow, just wow.
I've almost thought about using those systems because, like, I even changed my gender marker on my license and, like, my legal name and all that. What if I
Yeah.
got on one of those and ordered estrogen?
That's right.
Like,
That's right. That's right. You could. You
yeah,
actually
but,
could.
like, if I do it without lying and say that I'm detransitioning, they won't help me. They will only help me if I'm trans. Like, you can't ask for hormones going back. They only do the trans direction.
Okay, people, everyone heard that. There you go. They're fake. Because
Yeah.
why wouldn't they help if it's only for hormones, because that's what they're saying, it's HRT, which is hormone replacement
Yep.
therapy. then why aren't they? You actually need hormone replacement. You need it. Your body's
Yeah.
probably all whacked out from that.
And like my dad has naturally low testosterone because of a disease he has. He
Uh-huh.
can't all get it for free.
Nope, you
Yeah.
cannot. Nope. Only you can get everything for free now if you're trans. Pretty much
Yeah,
anything.
he had to go to multiple doctors for that, be diagnosed, blood tests, all
That's
this.
right. This is
Mhm.
so people hear this. The only people that don't have to do this are trans people. Yet a person who actually like not to say that trans people don't need it, but somebody else, let's say a different group of people that need the same medicine that trans have to go through a whole other rigmarole. You don't even it takes months to get that testosterone or whatever it takes your
Yeah,
dad to get.
yeah. Or think about, I've had a friend who had really, really large breasts, like
Yeah.
huge, and they were
Yeah.
impeding her life. They wouldn't give her a breast reduction.
That's right.
Or women who are sick in their uteruses, it's
That's right.
very hard for, they're like, oh, you're not sure. You don't know it. They
Yeah.
question, like, they think you don't know if you're going to have kids, but at, 15, 16, you can decide your gender. Like,
Wow, I know. As you can see, I'm speechless because none of it makes any sense. But a lot of people in the world don't know this is happening.
mm,
They see trans and they see because that narrative got so pushed up, right? The happy tranny narrative got pushed
yeah, yeah,
into the space. So nobody really sees this stuff. But we're actually giving people now they can actually see what's really happening.
yeah,
And yeah, because it's really happening.
yep.
And you know, I'm here for the kids. You know that. What an adult does with themselves, I have no say so in that matter. But when you at 16 or 15 are in a space to get hormones and do things to your body that are irreversible, right? Did they tell you, oh, don't worry, if you choose to stop, everything will go back? Did they ever say that to you?
Uh, they told me that, like, I had time, like, but my voice changed, like, immediately, and, like, the bottom stuff changed, like, immediately, so that wasn't true. And I was also told that I would have feeling in my chest within about a year after top surgery, and I don't.
Oh my God. So you have no feeling like in your, did you keep your nipples?
Yeah, but, like, that was traumatic and, like, parts of them fell off. Like,
Oh,
I took off my bandage and, like, my nipples were looking at me, like, on the other side of the bandage.
God. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
like, very traumatic. Yeah,
I'm so sorry, my friend. Ugh, it's just it so makes me I just don't even know what to say anymore. It's like, how is this happening? You're a young person. You have your whole life ahead of you. I'm
yeah.
so happy that you figured it out though before you got super deep and started looking like me.
Yeah,
And you're screwed.
thank you. Yeah, but I'm getting laser hair and stuff. And, like, because of, like, my heritage, the hair that grows in is, like, dark.
Right.
Dark. And,
Right.
it's not just on my face, like, it's on my chest, it's on my
That's right.
stomach, like,
That's right. That's
like,
right.
yeah, like, I have done my face, like, 5 times, and I did my chest once, and I'm, like, continuing with that, but insurance isn't covering it.
No,
No.
that's just yeah, you make a mistake. Oh, well, see you later. You made a mistake, even though we basically made the mistake for you.
Yeah, and, like, doing it that way was gender affirming care, and now what I'm doing is cosmetic.
Oh my God. I just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for speaking up. Thank you.
Yeah.
You are making so many brilliant points here. And you're right. They call it one thing when it's this way, happy tranny. And then when it doesn't work out, they're like, fuck you. Figure it out on your own.
Yeah, yeah, they really are,
They
like.
really are.
Mhm.
And what other medical condition would do that? Nobody in the medical field would do that. You're supposed to help patients. There's like an oath you take. Do no
Yeah,
harm.
do
Do
no
no
harm.
harm.
Yeah. And, another amazing thing is, I had to be hospitalized because of not eating and stuff, and I actually went to the same hospital that my endocrinologist was in. Like, so,
Wow.
like, I was there as an insane person and also as a trans person getting hormones.
I mean, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the insanity of it all.
Yeah. Like, I was literally
Of
there, like,
course.
for severe malnutrition, like.
God, my friend. My God. It's just not good. And I care a lot about you. I hope you know that, and a lot of people do. A lot of people care about you. They've seen your videos. I've sent them to many people. You have a lot of people that really do care about you and want to see you come out of this as a healthy adult female who's living their life as, I mean, I'm assuming that's how you live your life now as a woman. I don't
Yes.
want to. Yeah. Now I'm all scared, right? Well, did I misgender
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah.
you?
I just like feel like less of one, you know what I mean?
Well, I think I kind of do, but for me, that was the point. For you, it's not the point. So that's why it sucks because I can't even imagine. I hated being female, and being this way is so insanely amazing for me. But
Yeah.
I think I have to put myself in your space. What if I didn't feel male, right? What if I still felt female? I would be so unhappy right now, and I would be so um, discouraged with moving forward. But I
It's
know, but
like
mhm.
gender dysphoria, but it's someone else's fault.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say that you look like a woman.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you totally look like a woman. There's this like nobody would ever even know. That's why I asked you, were you on hormones? Because I think you really bounced back.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always had like really feminine features, but like you can see it in my body more than my
Hmm.
face.
Hmm.
And like growing out my hair has helped, but like,
Sure.
I like this has happened, you know, saying it like I'm in the kcmiller situation. It used to be way worse. I've
Yeah.
been trying to encourage them, like, mine has grown back a lot, but like I don't think it's gonna get better than what it is, you know?
Well, yeah, yeah. Who knows? That's the other thing. Medicine is weird, right? We don't know what this has done to me and what it did to you is two different things. Are
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And like we don't know about like I don't know, recessive genes and like how different things work. Like
That's right.
if you have baldness in your family as a male, will you get that recessive gene in a woman activated by testosterone?
That's
Like we
right.
just don't know these things.
Nope, they don't know shit. I transitioned 30 years ago. They know the same shit they knew 30 years ago, they know now. I'm not kidding. I'm just like, where's the research on all this? And you're researching giving children when you don't even know what it's doing to adults.
Yeah,
It's absurd. It's actually, and nobody can make a choice for a child. I would never make that choice for my child. I would never do that.
I
If
know.
he became trans, I would just deal with it in a way that says, whatever, dude. You want to be called Susie? I don't give a shit. But you're not taking. I would never, ever. And I'm a trans
Right.
person.
Yeah, yeah. Like, the only reason my parents like went with it is because they were literally told your child will commit suicide if you don't affirm them.
But you are also 15 and 16. My kid is 10, right? So I get it. And also, it's nowhere near your parents' fault. I don't believe
Yeah,
that because I
yeah.
think parents are being shoved into a space that says that bullshit right there.
Yep.
And as parents, you're like, right? It's just that I'm trans, so I would know it's all bullshit.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for a parent that knows nothing, they want to save your parents wanted to save you, and then
Yeah,
you
and
get
I was already suicidal and it's like they played on that, you
they
know?
played on it. Your poor parents.
Yeah, I feel worse for them than for myself, honestly. Like,
Yeah, they're two different things, but I do too. Give your parents love from me. Please tell them what they were duped. They were
yeah,
put into a space to do this, and I'm so happy you have a relationship with them now. That means
me
so
too.
much. Oh gosh, that's
Me
just
too.
like happy ending for me to hear that because family is so important, and
I know.
they keep wanting to separate you kids from your families.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's the cult thing.
It totally is because then you can do whatever you want to this kid, and the kid's all, F you, parents.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah,
like I genuinely believed that my parents hated me because they didn't want me to transition. Like I
that's right.
believed that whole they would
That's right.
rather a dead child than a trans child.
Oh my God, I hear the kids say it all the time. Like, my parents, they don't understand. Like, I'm not, parents write me a lot and they say that. My kid just one day came home and was like slamming the door. I'm non binary. Don't talk to me. So I'm like, it's so indoctrinating. It's just insane. And then people who got their kids away from the schools or their kids just went right back to being like in their birth sex and
I
not
know.
being trans.
I
Right.
know. I know. Like it's a social contagion.
It totally is. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. It is. We see it. I'm not going to pretend like it's not happening. Like it's just stupid. It's doing the trans community no good.
Yep.
These people are the ones that are ruining it for all of us. Those
Mhm.
people who are lying and pretending they're trans and creating this space for people like you, they're the ones who are going to ruin the whole trans space. You know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. For the people who actually need the medicine and
Mhm.
actually need a transition, it's going to be hard because when we start seeing 40,000 people in a detransition group, what? Right?
Yeah, it's similar to like, because of drug addicts, it's harder for like people in chronic pain to get medicine, you know?
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
No more oxy because it got totally insane, and fentanyl, and everyone's
Yeah. Yeah.
dying of drug overdoses. And oh gosh, friend, I appreciate you a lot. You just really mean a lot to me, and I feel very connected to you. And I also feel like I'm your dad.
I love that. I do too.
I'm literally your dad, like going, these kids are not going to tease you. Well, they're not. I'm not going to stand for it. I'm not.
Thank you.
So know that I have your back, friend. And, anytime you need me, I'm around. And do you have any kind of last things you want to say before we head out?
I guess whether or not you transition, I can't control you, but go to therapy first. Transition is for healthy people.
Mm, wow. Excellent, friend. You're right. Thank you for saying that. You're going to help somebody. And slow down is what I always say.
Mhm.
Why in such a rush? When you rush stuff, you always make a mistake,
Yep.
right? When you slow and steady, you will have the most amazing transition of your life. And you don't want this to happen to you. You don't want what happened to Prisha happen to you. You're dealing with so much stuff now, but we all appreciate you, Prisha. We're all here for you. And everyone out there, please send love letters. Please send love letters because I like love. I don't like hate. And also remember to like, subscribe, do all that nonsense. And then we're going to make things happen here. So thank you, Prisha. I really appreciate you.